Hello, welcome back to GameSpot's coverage of E3 2015. I'm joined by Nick and Mike from Bandai Namco Entertainment America.
Yes.
What's up, guys?
Got it.
Repping those Dark Souls 3 hoodies.
You have
Right,
to.
you got to.
You must be the envy of everyone else on the show floor.
You got to.
Got a little
thank
Nike
that-
on there as well.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Dark Souls 3, the first two games, it's strange to talk about Dark Souls 3 in the sort of the gaming landscape we have now, because for a long time it was just out there on its own, doing its own thing, and now people have kind of gotten used to what a Souls game is. You guys made a genre out of nothing. What is it that Dark Souls 3 is sort of doing for fans of the series to bring something new to what is something we know a lot about now?
Well, I think there's a lot of feature involvements as well as brand new features being brought for the series. But Miyazaki-san, who's the director on Dark Souls 3, has said that instead of mashing up Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 and 2 into one giant Dark Souls 3 game, he wanted to take the best of each one and really craft something that's the best of all the series. So, I mean, do you think that's...
That's definitely on point.
You're all right.
Some of the things
Just
are happening
lean back,
here.
yeah.
There we go. Some of the new stuff for players to see is is the first game made for next gen or
Yes.
current gen. So you're going to see a lot of increased. The graphics are a lot better than what's been out there before. A lot more ambient effects, wind-blown ash, cloth physics, dynamic lighting. So no, big thing with Dark Souls 2 we kind of brought in with the torch and the light and shadow, and this one we're able to really take that to effect in ways that I think fans wanted with 2. We're really going to bring it with 3. So yeah, the torch is in there, and we're also giving players a lot more combat abilities as well.
Cool. Speaking to the sort of technical aspect of it, so it is coming out PS4, Xbox One, and PC as well?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I guess you guys were kind of hamstrung for a while there with the older consoles, like trying to make games that can look good on new consoles, but also like perform well. Are you guys going to put some extra effort into the PC version this year as well, or do you feel like you're sort of on par with the console stuff?
No, so it's DirectX 11 only, and they're really taking advantage, From Software is really taking advantage of the graphical capabilities of the new console. So it gives us a very immersive experience for the player. So, the interconnected world that was in 1 is now back in for 3. Anything you see in the distance, so if you see a castle way off, you can travel to real-time rendering. So in this kind of dark, apocalypse type setting, there's still also a beauty element to it. So there's that golden sky that you see. So there's dark and gritty, but there's also this beauty to it. So Miyazaki-san was really careful to kind of put that in there. So
From Software have had a busy year. Bloodborne did incredibly well on PlayStation 4. Miyazaki-san must be very busy as well. Is he still working on Bloodborne with the expansion stuff, or is he focusing on Dark Souls 3 now?
I don't know. To me, they seem like magic workers. I don't know how they go from Scholar, First Sin, Bloodborne to Dark Souls 3. The game is coming out pretty soon too, so it's amazing that they actually can do all these things at the same time. But I mean, is that what you think? Probably.
Yeah, and Miyazaki has been with Dark Souls 3 since the prototyping phase, and he's handling all the level design and stuff. So he's hands-on with this game. Bloodborne's Sony's game, so I really can't say what he's doing with that right now. So yeah, but he is in it deep with Dark Souls 3.
But definitely a lot of learnings from all the series, as well as Bloodborne. Really kind of a lot of the learnings that are applying for the Dark Souls 3 series.
From what we've seen from Dark Souls 3, we haven't seen a lot yet. Folks are like dying for gameplay, I'm sure, at this stage. It seems like there might be some narrative tiebacks to the first game. Can you guys speak to that at all, or is Miyazaki-san kind of holding on to that himself? Because the Dark Souls games have always kind of similar to Final Fantasy in that they were kind of their own little things.
In my take, it is the same thing again. So you definitely don't have to play 1 and 2 in order to enjoy 3. There isn't really this kind of... There's a world connection amongst 1, 2, and 3, and the world is coming into this kind of apocalyptic, ruined state. But there isn't one overarching narrative that kind of ties all 3 together, I'd say. But there's definitely a more increased storytelling element for Dark Souls 3, I think, right?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely takes place in the same Dark Souls universe, but when and where that is, we're not talking about that quite yet.
Yeah, we'll know more when you release the Dark Souls MMO and it's all connected
Yes,
in one
exactly.
living, breathing world.
Yes,
or
World of
living,
Dark Souls.
living dying world,
Yes,
maybe.
exactly.
Well, I'd say probably around that Gamescom timing is when we'll probably release our next big trailer for a lot of gameplay. So
Yeah, is that when you're going to start showing some gameplay?
So you'll start seeing that come out of that timing area. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. More and more Gamescom is becoming a bigger player. As someone from Europe, I really like that because we used to always go to Gamescom, and now it seems like a lot of publishers are setting stuff up for E3 and then smacking it when Gamescom
Yeah,
comes
we
in.
definitely don't want to do that, and it's a lot of hard work. Obviously, now E3 and GameSpot, I think, like 6 weeks apart, so they've even condensed that. So it's like, but you know, the fans want it, and it's a huge event, and so that's our big next follow-up after for E3.
Awesome. Before I let you guys go, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the combat. Again, not to keep going on about Sony's little project, but Bloodborne did some really interesting things with the sort of riposte and with the counters, with the gun and whatnot.
Yep.
I think people are going to be very excited to go back to sort of the pure Dark Souls sword and shield. But has there been anything else sort of, have you guys changed any of the format in terms of combat in Dark Souls 3?
Yeah, From Software has added some new abilities to the combat. You still have the light and heavy attacks like you have from previous Dark Souls games, but now if you two-hand your right-hand weapon, you can go into different stances. So with short swords, you're able to go in this ready stance and kind of do alternate attacks where you can shield break someone, do this lunging attack. Great swords, you're able to kind of lean into attacks, absorb some hits, and kind of do more devastating attacks. So it's a risk-reward system. If you don't want to use those, you don't have to. You can always play it the regular way if you want to. But they're making it a lot more options to the player to play how they want to play.
But in the first look demo with Miyazaki-san, anytime he dealt any of those new sword fighting action abilities, the response was always like oohs or so definitely looks really cool.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Nick and Mike from Bandai Namco Entertainment America, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to see some new gameplay at Gamescom. When is Dark Souls 3 going to be out?
Early 2016 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC.
Awesome. Thanks very much for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. We are still live here on the GameSpot E3 show floor. Bunch more interesting stuff coming up. We got the guys from Gorilla coming on to talk about Riggs, which is a game we saw just a little bit of at the Sony conference. So I'm going to try and get some more information about that. But first of all, we're going to check in with the GameSpot crew about Mass Effect. This segment, of course, brought to you by our friends at MSI. Check it out.